Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Smark City podcast for August 2nd, SmackDown, and all that shit. Today, finally, SmackDown got their head in the game. If this is supposed to be a competition, this was the first show that actually made it feel like a competition. You know what I mean? With me today, I'm Alex, by the way. With me is Drew Nicholas. Hey, buddy.
Hello.
Hi. We wanted to talk about the main event segment of this show that kind of encompassed the starting and the ending of the show, which was Ziggler trying to prove himself to Dean Ambrose, to the management, to the fans that he's worth our time. And the way that took form was basically Ambrose openly doubted him. Bray Wyatt came out to make his mark and to demand a match from Ziggler where Ziggler could prove himself or Wyatt could take his place. And why the hell Ziggler would agree to that, who knows? Point being, he did, and he ended up winning. So, Drew, what did you think of that? The whole thing, like altogether, what stood out to you?
From like the promo between them and everything?
Yeah, anything that stood out with the Ambrose Wyatt Ziggler angle.
Well, I'm interested in Dolph Ziggler finally not being the same old Dolph Ziggler. That's something that interests me. I've been wanting a change in Dolph Ziggler for a long time now, and this is a positive step forward for him.
It's a positive step, especially because the big problem I've always seen with Dolph Ziggler is like he talks about how he's scrapped and clawed at the front. So it makes sense why he wants to be babyface and do things honorably because like that's how he's gotten to where he is. But what happens when he does that and then he fails? And I think that's kind of where the story is going to end up going because Dolph, man, I love you, buddy, but let's be honest here. I mean, you're not winning at SummerSlam, you know? So I think the story is more what happens after for him. But this was a very solid step. Do you think that's accurate, or am I reading too much into it?
No, I do not think you're reading too much into it this time. I think that's actually very accurate, and I think that it's possible. Depending on what they do the next 2 weeks, it's possible that maybe Dolph could win on SummerSlam.
You think so? I think that's partly what tonight was all about, was hopefully to make it seem like maybe he has a shot. I think in reality, there's just no chance. I would be awfully surprised if he ended up winning. The big thing that I liked was just how Dean Ambrose was approaching the show and approaching Ziggler. Is he's not being mean to him, but he's not pulling any punches here. He's saying, "Look, dude, we're nothing alike. I actually deliver. You've always come up short." And
let's. I mean, there was a big chunk of 2015 where Dean was pretty much just floating on air.
Sure, but you know how it is with what have you done for me lately and all that crap. And let's be honest, Ambrose is holding the major belt that's out there now, and Ziggler's been in no man's land for about 2 years now. So, I get where that's coming from, and he wasn't heel or anything about it, but he was definitely showing a little bit of an edge, and I think that edge kind of proved everybody's point.
You don't think Dean was being heel?
No, not really, because he ended he showed you at the end of the show, like he got on commentary and basically said, "Look, I respect Dolph, and I've got a lot of respect for what he's done and everything and all that." And then he gets in the ring and tries to save him from the Wyatts attacking after. We'll get to that in a minute. But, he was being openly critical of Dolph without being necessarily mean. Or kind of mean because, I mean, you're fighting, but he wasn't necessarily being I don't know. I don't know how you would define a heel being mean. Like anybody fighting is going to be a little mean to each other, but he wasn't being malicious about it.
I thought, well, you know what? There was one point in the promo where I did think he was being mean and quite heelish, and I think that was when he said that the fans didn't care about him, because usually the heel move is telling the face that the fans are against them.
Okay, I will give you that. It was a little bit of a heelish move where but it made sense in what Ambrose's argument was, where he's saying, look, man, you care about other people's opinions too much. You care about the management. You care about how you look. You care about social media liking what you're wearing. You care about your hair. You care about the fans in the arena that night and all this stuff. And it's like, you got to be a little more riding in the middle than the highs and lows. And it made sense to me. But yeah, it did have a little bit of a heel edge to it, but it wasn't overly heelish to me.
And it wasn't just that, though. It was also during the Bray Wyatt-Dolph Ziggler match at the end. JBL was really kissing Dean's ass. And that's something that, telling, I think it was Morrow or David Otunga, the worst fucking commentator in history.
Oh, come on.
The worst fucking commentator in history. I think he told one of them, "Oh, well, I told you not to call Ambrose a cockroach," which is what he did on Raw for a whole year straight.
Yeah.
And then now he's calling Ziggler a cockroach, and he is just like kissing Dean's ass.
Well, he's a heel commentator. He's doing what he's supposed to be doing.
So it's not a way for him to get out, even if they want to make him as a heel, or if they want to, whatever it is that they're doing with Dean right now, don't involve JBL.
Well, JBL's just being heel. He's not telling any story with Dean Ambrose at the moment. Basically, all they're doing is they've made Dean Ambrose the guy. He's working kind of in the tweener role where he's not being overly malicious, but he's also able to work with a babyface and kind of be the dude. I got the belt. Like, any of your arguments towards how great you are, like, they fall short because I got the belt. And like, all those arguments make sense, right? The big thing to me is just that, like, with commentary, I've never really been a big fan of JBL, and it's not personal. I like JBL as a person and as a wrestler and all that. It's just, I don't know, something about it just personally doesn't do much for me. That's fine, you know what I mean? And I don't have any problems with how he was commentating towards Dean Ambrose, because he's being a heel. He's being a dick to Ambrose when Ambrose isn't there, and when Ambrose is there, he's just sucking up to him. And that's fine. I like that just fine.
You know what? Normally, I think, and you could tell me if I'm right or wrong on this. Normally, I feel like I would agree with that. But tonight, and especially when it comes to a certain red-haired woman, just seem to not be on the heels playing up being heels being a good thing tonight. I don't know why, but I'm just really not into it.
Okay, well, and that's a fair opinion to have. I think I'm on one side of the spectrum where I'm fine with that, and you're not. That's totally fine. I don't think
only because for what I think it was. Let's see, Lawler's heart attack was in 2012, I think, and
it
then
was something like that. Yeah.
Not too long after that is when they brought on JBL, and JBL was great in the beginning, but it's been 4 years now, and it's just I wasn't really around for the height of heel Michael Cole, but it was like
garbage.
I feel like it was on the level of heel Michael Cole. It's just trash and terrible, and he was not saying anything that meant anything for the entire 3 hours of the show every week.
Yeah,
and it's at this point now where I'm just tired of it. And I will give them credit this week; they were better. Commentary was better. The show overall was better.
I didn't know we were going to get into commentary this early. I think both of us are of the opinion that Morrow's great. He gets a little pop culture-y at times, which is not the worst thing. I mean, if that's a pet peeve that people are going to have, just suck it up. But JBL and David Otunga are
dirt worst.
Not great. I don't think they're the worst.
No. Well, JBL, I could tolerate, but Otunga's got to get the fuck away.
I like Otunga more than I like JBL.
Oh God, no! Why?
Because he's not offensive to me. He's just there. It's like Byron Saxton, but
No. I actually enjoy Byron Saxton.
Well, I do too when he's with Corey Graves. I don't when he's not with Corey Graves. But I think SmackDown should have gone to a two-man booth just to give it a different feel from Raw. And I think David Otunga with Mauro Ranallo, and it was just those two, it'd be great. I think it'd be fine. The one thing that bugs me is just they can both go off on tangents at times, and it's like you're getting away from the product a little bit. And they both, the first episode, they both kind of tried a little too hard, it felt like, JBL and Otunga. And then tonight they found a role a little bit better. They said some things at times where I just was like, what are you talking about? But like, that's, it's going to happen. Like it's fine. I think Otunga just needs experience more than anything.
I do have to say though, I have not been saying, what are you talking about with Raw commentary the past 2 weeks?
Right. Corey Graves is a miracle worker. I'm going to give him all the credit because I love Corey Graves. But anyway, that's my opinion of commentary, is that it can be okay. It just needs to be, let's tone it down. Let's talk about the match. And I think if we do that, we're fine. But yeah, you don't like Otunga. So
No.
Do you think he'll get better with time?
No.
Oh, man.
I don't think so.
2 weeks in and you're already down on Otunga. That's sad.
Well, but he did something to get you on board with me, at least. I don't know what it was, but
he said oh God, yeah, it was when this was the worst moment for him of the show, where it was right at the end where Carmella was making her entrance and Natalya attacked her, and he says Natalia's just being a petty Betty. Have you ever heard petty Betty in your life? Like, I heard it and just, Otunga, my man, you're trying too hard, buddy. Just say, hey, Natalya, that ain't cool. You're the babyface commentator. You don't have to be creative like that. Just be like, dude, that's not okay. She's just making her debut. Let her at least have a match first. Jesus Christ, right? Like,
I kind of wish I heard him say that now, because I would have got a good laugh out of that.
Oh, Petty Betty? I don't know. That's my opinion. And I just felt like if he's not trying too hard, if he's just trying to do his job and just be the babyface point of view, totally fine. Like that, he'll be fine. I think that's just where they need to go a little bit more. Is go more for the point of view, less for the throwing in bits and bobs of phrases that are going to pop a crowd, because that's not your job. You're a commentator. Exactly. You're not supposed to pop the crowd. The wrestlers are supposed to pop the crowd. So just chill. Just do nice and keep it on the down low for the most part. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the best thing that Corey Graves does when he's trying to pop a crowd is when he just Braun Strowman throws somebody and he just laughs suddenly and just goes, "Oh my God!" Like, that's simple, right? Like, that's just a natural reaction.
Yeah.
Just be natural. Like, don't go petty Betty. You know what I mean?
Does that even mean something?
No, just negative Nancy. It's in that frame of reference, I guess.
I've never heard that before.
And no one has. Petty Betty he just made up and thought it was great, I guess. No. No.
Please don't ever do that again.
Yeah, please don't do that again. Anyway, so the main event, basically, I thought Bray Wyatt was going to win just from the story they were telling, but then once they got to the actual match, I was like, it could just be Ziggler getting his vindication and then moving on. One more thing about the Wyatts before we move on. Eric Rowan's back with Bray. Okay. What did you think of that?
I don't know what to think of that, really, because
I guess they're bringing back Harper soon.
I miss Harper. I think Harper is one of the best in the whole Wyatt family. So I'm so unfortunate that he is the one that had to get injured.
If I recall, they said he'd be back in the fall, so we're getting close to that time. He's great. He's always great. I think the smart thing was getting Braun Strowman away from them. So because it always worked better without Strowman.
That did wonders for Strowman.
Yeah, Strowman's amazing now, just squashing little dudes. That's great. Let's do that all the time. He could have a 5-year career just squashing people. Like, I don't need you in any storylines. Just squash people and throw them with a reverse choke slam. That's all I need. You know what I mean? Like I could have fun with that every week.
Yeah, I'm telling you, this SmackDown stepped up a little more this week, but Raw is just kicking it out of the park.
They're great, man. Raw's been great 2 weeks in a row. And tonight, SmackDown was starting to get more towards the stories. Last week was clunky at times. This week, the Ziggler, Wyatt, Ambrose storyline was great. So I have no complaints.
Here's a smooth transition for you. They didn't really treat the women as well this week either.
That's another thing. I saw a big fuss over the women, and let's talk about the Eva Marie thing right after this because women. But there was a big fuss. Yeah, you know what I mean. There was a big fuss over it where people were saying, "Look, the women are not getting a chance to work, and that's all, shitty and whatever." Here's the problem with that: they have 2 women who have actually been wrestling on the main roster, which are Natalya and Becky Lynch. Naomi's been hurt; she's coming back, and then you have 3 NXT women who are now here. I think Carmella, Eva Marie, and Alexa Bliss. So you have to, there are 2 ways you can do this. You can do it in one way where you are having matches to sell these women, but you also kind of need to set them up and show their personality before any of their matches are going to matter. You know what I mean? So right. I get it. I get what they're trying to do. That doesn't mean it can't be criticized. That doesn't mean it's necessarily the right way. I'm just saying I get it and I'm okay with it. What would be your opinion of it?
Well, yeah, I do understand what you're saying. They have to. I think what they did very good for Carmella tonight, giving her that little interview with Renee, just to get her out there and getting the people who did not watch her in NXT just to know a little something about her.
Sure.
Natalya, I have to say, I like her more lately because she's doing something that I've not seen she's doing something that I haven't seen get done in the women's division in a while, and that's kind of go against the norm.
Okay, yeah.
Where she did this with Becky too. She's attacking the face, during their entrance, where and you see that time and time again with the men, but you never see that with the women's division. And she's bringing that back, and I really like it because, especially when she's doing it with somebody like Becky and Carmella, who use their entrance sort of to draw the crowd in before they get into the ring.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it's smart.
That's a really good thing.
Totally smart, and it's a trope that the women have not usually gone to. So I definitely agree with you there. Let's talk about the Eva Marie thing because that was so great. You may disagree. So for anyone who didn't watch the show, or if you just need a recap, we were going to get Becky Lynch versus Eva Marie on this show. So Becky Lynch is in the ring and all that stuff, and Eva Marie has that long-ass introduction with some Hollywood-esque voice actor talking about how great she is.
Which I like. I like that.
And then she takes her long-ass time to get to the ring, poses again, gets on the top rope, blows a kiss, jumps down deliberately as awkwardly as possible, fakes an injury, and there's no match. Oh, man. The amount of heat that got in the crowd and on Twitter was magnificent. And it's such a great use for her because anything that she does, people hate. So might as well just do the shittiest thing you can think of, right? Oh, man.
I'm not in that.
I know. I loved it. What did you think?
Well, you already got part of what I think, but let me just explain it all now.
Explain it for the people. Explain it for the people.
For the millions.
And millions. Not minute. No, it's like maybe 100, really. But you can help us with that if you want to share it with your friends, because we'd love that.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
That'd be cool. Anyway, tell your opinion, please.
Yeah, we're getting way off track here. I am not a fan of it. I never really was a fan of this whole Eva Marie nonsense because, well, no, that's not true. Actually, in the beginning, I was because it really pissed off the Full Sail assholes. That
You
I
have
enjoyed.
such a grudge over Full Sail for no reason. Like how do they matter? They're just people who live in Florida. Come on.
There are people who make me not watch NXT.
That's so dumb.
They are terrible.
They're fine.
They're not.
They are fine. The only problem with them is that it's too small of a crowd and it's people who return, so they all know each other, so they can all chant dumb things.
It's all about the Full Sail crowd.
You put
That's what
that
NXT
no,
is.
you put NXT in front of anywhere else, same thing would happen. Like that's
But
just
they need to not be in one spot all the time.
I agree, and I'm glad that's why they're doing specials and stuff in other places. But you know,
Anyway, back to Eva Marie.
yeah.
Now I just see how much everyone loves the hate that she gets, and it's kind of like what we were talking about with JBL, where it's heel, but it's not good heel heat. It's just there, and for me at least, it's annoying.
It's just annoying for you.
It doesn't do it for me at all. Like I said, the entrance, the Hollywood like movie trailer voiceover, that I enjoy that. I actually did laugh when I heard it today, but you know, and I don't know if it was just maybe that now they're really trying to push her as this big important person that she isn't, because she's not important at all and she's terrible. I don't know if that just rubs me the wrong way, or if it's just that wrestling fandom is very weird. And last night there are so many people online and on forums all over, wrestling world, about how Enzo and Sasha and Jericho and Charlotte was just like a misogynistic, it's typical WWE, leaving the women in the sidelines. And then you see this stuff, and it's like, okay, what about Becky here? Does Becky deserve this after everything that she's been through? And yeah, there's no men involved. There's no men involved.
Of course she's fine. She is one of the leading women of this show. She got to be the one to emote how stupid and how ridiculous this Eva Marie shit was. Like, it does good for her because it gives her someone to do anything with other than Natalya. And she needs that, because the problem was that you put all the main, you put the top feud in the women's division on Raw, right? So it puts Natalya and Becky already at a disadvantage. And if they're just going to keep fighting each other like they did the last week, there's only so much you can do with that. They at least put her in front of the crowd, gave her the entrance, and let the fans, get behind her for a second, and then have Eva Marie blow it all. And
I just don't. I
don't agree with the thought that, oh, poor Becky. No, that's how you're supposed to feel. You're supposed to feel, oh, poor Becky. She should be getting her shot, and Eva Marie screwed her. That's the whole point. You're supposed to feel that way.
It doesn't do it for me, though. She doesn't do it for me, and then there's, like I said, the wrestling fandom is just so weird sometimes, where now there's these sections of fans, and there's this section over here to the left that's like, oh, Eva Marie, she's awful, she's terrible, she's got X-Pac heat, if that's even a real thing.
Yeah, get rid of that terminology. People need to just stop with that, like they know what that means.
And then there's the people on the right who are like, look at the people on the left. Look at how much it makes them boil over.
So they enjoy it because they enjoy watching others hate it. And then there's the people that actually like Eva Marie, and then there's the pervs that perv on her, and there's a whole bunch of other crap.
Oh, God, her poor Instagram, man.
Oh, my God, yeah, and on Tumblr and shit, you know, the internet's a weird place, but like, good Lord, poor Eva. You know, my big thing is that, like, looking at it specifically from a wrestling perspective, Eva Marie got boos. People did not like her. So she went out and did something to make them not like her even more. And it makes you sympathize with Becky Lynch. Like, at some point, you can prefer other methods, but that was effective. You know what I mean? And that's my perspective of it. I think you probably have a different one, and I'm glad we disagree on it, because it's just, you know, it's nice that we can talk about it and not just shout at each other.
Yeah, well, you know what else? With what you just said about Becky, the problem with me is that I'm not saying, "Oh, poor Becky" in kayfabe. I'm saying,
Right.
"Oh, poor Becky" as a shoot, because
I hear
don't
you.
feel like he should be going through that.
I hear you, and I think that's partly the problem with some people with Eva Marie is they can't get invested in her as an actual wrestler, so they can't look at anything that she does in an actual wrestling perspective. I think that's the issue more than anything, and you know, take it or leave it. She gets boos, so I think she'll probably keep getting her shots. My big worry was that she was going to beat Becky Lynch, and then so I was going into it like, oh God, here we go.
So well, hold on.
The,
but now let me ask you this question now.
mm-hmm.
If this never happened and there was no fake injury angle, and she did go on to have a match and she did beat Becky Lynch, what would your opinion be?
Well, it would depend on seeing it and seeing the way it happened. I'd be pissed because I like Becky and I don't like Eva Marie that much as a wrestler. So Eva Marie is best sold in these kind of environments where she's just being just the worst person ever, faking an injury so she doesn't have to wrestle. Like, that was how she got effective heat in NXT. She had Nia Jax do all her work for her. That's why I was hoping they would be paired together on the main roster again. Because, God, man, it was so stupid how she got an NXT Women's Championship match because Nia Jax beat up enough people. And then everybody was all concerned that Eva Marie was going to beat Bayley. And it was just great because people actually just could not stand her. And at some point during that, I remember actually looking on Twitter for spoilers of that show, and I thought, you know what? I can't hate on her anymore, because who else would I be on Twitter looking for spoilers for? You know what I mean? Like, I'm that invested. Even if it's in a way where I just don't want her to win, I'm that invested in this match and its outcome that I am scouring the internet for the result. You know what I mean? So I'm at the point with Eva Marie where I would rather really not watch her wrestle so much. I just enjoy her being the colossal asshole that she can be, because it's fun.
Well, let me read you something that I just came across on Twitter.
Okay, we need to move to another topic. We've been talking about this for too long.
I know, but after this, it's interesting.
Yeah.
So Eva Marie tweeted to Becky, I think like a half hour ago or something like that. No, this is about my health and well-being. Thank you very much. So I guess Becky said something there, but it's not involved in here. So Natalia tweeted Eva. She did a little quote tweet gimmick. I'm here for you if you need anything. With the prayer emoji with the two hands together.
Yeah,
And Eva responded, "Thank you for your love and support through this difficult time."
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
And Becky says, "You're both pathetic."
Yeah, I mean, that's
agree.
great. I'm cool with it. Like, the whole thing is they needed to get some interaction between these women on the show that are all trying to fight for a spot here. So, like, I'm glad because they're starting to get some interaction between the women on the show, and it's a good thing. It helped make that happen. So
I like what they're doing here.
Yeah,
I think that's interesting. I think that's,
that's
instead
the
of just
point.
presenting Eva as this goddess that we all need to bow down and worship on SmackDown every week, at least they're giving her some sort of a different, like, story.
They're giving
a storyline tool.
Can...
Twitter. This is what I love about Twitter. It's a storyline tool for the superstars.
Oh yeah, totally. And they use it on the show, and they do the backstage interviews and the YouTube videos and all that stuff to help. WWE has so many tools that they can make these stories be so great if they really wanted to, and this is where the wrestlers themselves get to do it. So yeah, it's just good that they have that opportunity, and I'm happy about that. Let's move to the debuting tag team. In my opinion, they're the best tag team in WWE right now, American Alpha. How'd you like their debut?
That was a fantastic debut.
It's fun, right?
They're really fun.
There was no real stakes there. There was no interview. You didn't get to know them or anything. You just got to see them go. And they kind of did a greatest hits of the American Alpha thing where they did the Grand Amplitude as the finisher. They hit their dual drop kicks. They had Jason Jordan hit his spear in the corner and suplex some fools. And they didn't really show off Chad Gable's groundwork as much as they could. But it was just a quick, brief Hello World American Alpha match. And they are something, man. They are so good.
Jason Jordan is a fit motherfucker. Good Lord.
It's stupid, really.
Vince McMahon must be salivating.
Well, the only problem is Jason Jordan's not tall necessarily. He's like 6'1" or 6'2". But the point being, like, he's amazing. He's such a great contrast to Gable. They have such a great contrast and a great chemistry together. One of the big things that made me really happy was Gable was working over Simon Gotch early in the match, drops him to the mat, grabs him in an arm bar and grins at the crowd, and then he looks at Jason Jordan and says, "You want some?" Like, just, "Hey, I'm having a ball. You want to get in on this?" Like that kind of a question. And it was like, yeah, man, they're just fun. And anyone who saw their stuff with the Revival or with the Authors of Pain on NXT, you saw they can get serious as well. And when given time, they can put on some of the best tag team matches you've ever seen. So as a guy who watches NXT pretty religiously, I'm extremely happy about that. That was a lot of fun. I'm glad they got it paid off correctly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I have seen them wrestle in NXT. I think the past couple of I saw them win the NXT tag titles.
Yep.
At what was that, London?
It was London.
And I've seen them wrestle on the takeovers, and I'm really into them. They're just energetic and fun and so skilled. Like, and which one is the Olympic wrestler?
That's Chad Gable.
That's the long-haired one, right?
Yep, long hair.
The amazing.
He's got a very Kurt Angle-esque mat wrestling style to him, and it's because they're both actual wrestlers. But you know what I mean? Like, there's some really savvy stuff he can do on the mat that other people just can't do, and that's going to work for him because that's always going to pop some people in the crowd. It's just so unique and different. And then when you throw it in with Jordan's explosive suplexes and all the stuff he can do, it's just great. It's a match made in heaven, and it's great too because anyone who didn't watch NXT and doesn't know this, Jason Jordan was kind of floundering for a while, and he was working as a singles guy, and it didn't work out. He worked some tag teams, didn't work out. They put him with Chad Gable, and it was just magic from day one. And that's awesome. I'm glad that worked out for him. I'm really, really glad they're on the main roster now. I can't wait for down the road where they're established as kind of the top tag team, and then we start getting tag teams to challenge them. So one week we'll get maybe Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn challenging them, and then maybe another week we get Finn Balor, AJ Styles challenging them. You know what I mean? Like, there's some fun we can have there if they can keep going with it. So
by the way, I don't know why I asked which one was Chad Gable when I literally just talked about Jason Jordan.
Yeah, it's, you know what I mean. It happens. It happens. You forget stuff.
I did not drink Merlot tonight.
No Merlot tonight?
No Merlot. Maybe I should have.
Whatever. So that kind of brings me to the last topic of the night. The Cena Styles promo battle. Any thoughts you got on that?
You first.
Me first. Okay. My big thing was how outrageous AJ Styles was, where he's saying, I beat you. You should not be in this company anymore. How ridiculous is that? Imagine if that's how this worked. Anytime you got beat in WWE, you were gone. How crazy would that be?
There would be no WWE.
They sent you to like Evolve or something. That was awesome. I love that. And Cena was just looking at him in amazement. Like, how crazy are you? This is insane. How are you this dumb? And that was great. Cena going into his normal spiel of I love this and that's why I do this and that's why I'm still here and all that stuff.
You were on the fence with that too, right?
What?
You were on the fence with that?
What do you mean on the fence?
Like that. Like you were like, oh, it's a good promo, but it's also like the same thing that John does all the time.
Yeah, it was great, but it was not anything new.
Okay.
That's where I'm at. What was great about it was most people stand there with a sour face when Cena does that shit. AJ Styles said, so you'll be okay with fighting me again at SummerSlam, right? Because you love this, right? And Cena's like, yeah, you're on. And then Styles says, good, because when I beat you, you're either going to have to admit I'm better than you or you're going to be a liar. And either way, I win. So Styles had a response for it when no one else ever has. And that's what was really the moment that made that special.
I was looking for like a retirement stipulation or something.
I was thinking
an I Quit match.
I was thinking. I don't think they would do that, obviously, because they're both maybe somewhere down the line. But I was thinking it could have been loser goes to Raw. You know what I mean?
Oh, that would be interesting.
And maybe they do that down the line, and that's where we can get the full-fledged club. But yeah, it was compelling. I don't know if I'm looking forward to that match as much as I am, say, Balor Rollins or Balor Rollins, but like that's the match. That's probably match number 2 for me for SummerSlam is Cena Styles again because it's going to be amazing again
with Orton and Lesnar right underneath that.
Yeah, well, I would say Reigns Rusev maybe is third. Like that's what's crazy. SummerSlam is for anyone who hasn't kind of looked at the SummerSlam card right now. You got Balor's and Rollins. You have Lesnar Orton, Cena Styles, Ambrose Ziggler, Charlotte versus Sasha, and Reigns versus Rusev so far. Holy shit. That's 7 matches of pure amazingness.
The Club and New Day.
Club and New Day, probably. You may see something like Natalya, Eva Marie versus Becky Lynch and Carmella to open the show, something like that.
Which I would be interested in.
That could happen. And we've not even gotten to like cruiserweight division starting or the women's title scene for SmackDown actually starting to happen.
Yeah, that's right. So now there's going to be today. Daniel Bryan announced that SmackDown is going to have its own women's title and tag title.
We'll have women's tag titles?
No, a women's title and tag title.
Okay. I was about to say there's 6 women. Are we really doing a tag title too? Is everyone holding a belt? Yeah, that's good. It needs to happen. Kind of the necessary evil of doing a brand split is having 2 tag titles and 2 women's titles and all that. But, it is what it is.
Well, my opinion on Styles and Cena is pretty much exactly the same as you with Cena. Styles is just amazing. Ever since he turned heel, I'm just so in love with his character. It's like it's up there with Kevin Owens with me now.
Yeah, it's great.
Where I wasn't really like paying attention to AJ when he was a face. Now I'm like so intrigued, and I'm always paying attention to what he's saying. It's such a cocky douchebag heel that people, if you've had a life where you've been stomped on or you feel like life is against you, AJ Styles is like
the delusional that you are.
AJ Styles is like the embodiment of what you want to be.
Yeah, and what's great about it too is AJ Styles has had a career where he's bounced around company to company. Well, he was mainly in TNA, but you get my point. Where he's not been the guy in WWE. So when he gets to WWE and he starts letting that self-preservation, that envy and that greed that he has kind of leak out, all of a sudden it shows how delusional he is. And we always talk about delusional heels and stuff as online wrestling fans and all that stuff, but he is a unique flavor of delusional, man. It is so good. Because you get where he's coming from. You're just like, I get it, but dude, you're a dick. You're such a dick.
I know.
And it's great. I'm happy. They can do Cena versus Styles for a full year, and I'd be like, yep, I'm watching again. Let's do it.
Yeah, and there isn't. I don't think there's a feud. Maybe like 2011 feeling Punk Cena. I think it is the last thing that I could point back. And I wasn't even watching back then, but I went back when I got the network and they put the pay-per-views up. I went and watched it. Amazing pay-per-view, Money in the Bank.
Oh yeah, from 2011.
Yeah.
That was. Yep, it was good.
And I said this in a review on our old site about AJ, that he's like the new employee that knows everything
better than you,
and then some when they come into the job, and then he's sharing an office with the guy that's been there for 10 years that isn't as good as him, and he knows isn't as good as him.
Yeah,
and you know, and you're just sitting there at your desk seething that this guy is. You could be making more if this guy wasn't here, and he shouldn't be here because you know way more than he does.
It's just one of those things where Styles knows what to do. He clearly knows what to do. He's got the experience. He knows how to be what WWE needs him to be. I'm happy with it, man. I'm happy with what SmackDown delivered tonight. If I had to grade it, which I probably will do because now we have a review scaler on our site, I would have to say this is a steady 7 to 8, something like that. It's above average. It was a good show, when last week was not. So I'm happy. SmackDown stepped up.
Very, very happy this week that they stepped it up like this. And you know what? And we didn't talk about this, but just really quickly.
Okay.
Lesnar coming in and causing some havoc in SmackDown Live.
Yeah, he didn't really cause havoc. He just he basically said it on his way out. He said, "Look, I just returned the favor." Then he walked off happily.
I think that was probably the best thing that they could have done to add, or well, not add, but because I don't really feel like it added intrigue, because Orton on Raw last night, that was like, whoa. Okay.
That was surprising. This wasn't surprising. This was like, okay, clearly Lesnar's here tonight. And then,
this didn't have the benefit of an out of nowhere style.
Right. It's still the criticism we had last night with Lesnar, where it's the same old shit, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it ruins the excitement level a little bit. Like, it's always fun and it's always quality, but it's not always the biggest thing you're looking forward to. And a little bit in that vein tonight. It's good. It was good, but it wasn't great. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, where I would have given it a 0.5 last week, I would give SmackDown probably 0.5. Yeah, 0.5. I would give it like a 6 this week.
Think a 6? Yeah, I think I'm probably a little more optimistic than you, and I don't mind commentary as much as you do, so that's probably why. But yeah, I thought it was good. Only questions I really have are, what the hell is the Wyatt family doing now? I love kind of what they're doing with the women's division, but it'd be great if we started to kind of move into some actual territory with them. I don't know what the tag team division looks like yet. I didn't get to see Alexa Bliss this week. Those are just a rundown of little small things, but they delivered tonight. It was a good show. they're giving us what WWE is doing is they're finally giving us some stakes and some quality storytelling. Whether you agree or not with the decisions, that's fine. As long as they're giving me these stories, I'm happy. I'm a happy camper. So, that's kind of where I stand. What about you, man?
I'm pretty much the same way. This is the second week of different stuff with both Raw and SmackDown, and this week SmackDown did much better, but Raw is still. I still have to tip my hat.
Raw is just 2 weeks of just fire. That's so tough to top.
And will SmackDown get to that level? I hope so.
I think they will eventually. I think they finally will. It's just going to take really getting the women and the tag team titles going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're going to have to incorporate more of American Alpha, get them some storylines. You're going to have to do something dynamic with Dolph Ziggler to where he's interesting. If you do that, you have Cena, Styles, Wyatt, Ambrose, Ziggler carrying the show with American Alpha. I think you got something there. Until then, you're probably going to see Raw win. But,
and then again, Raw has kind of like...
Raw has like 10 people that are just... You put any of them together, you're going to have an amazing match.
Raw,
that's where they're killing it.
Because, we talked about this for the first podcast last week, how dreadful it was and how we thought it was almost a rib by Vince that this show was so bad and Raw was so good. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like now where we thought SmackDown was going to be the Smark show. Raw is ending up being the Smark show.
Yeah, because you have all the good workers. You have Cesaro, Finn Balor, Rusev, Roman Reigns, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins.
A whole cruiserweight division coming.
Sheamus. You've got the cruiserweights coming, which are going to be T.J. Perkins, Cedric Alexander, Zack Sabre Jr., Kota Ibushi, Neville, Rich Swann. Like, y'all, man, Raw is going to be incredible. It's going to be incredible in the future. I'm a happy camper, man. My wrestling's been good this week.
It's been good, and I can only hope that it continues because next week, Mr. Sean P. Diddy Combs is going to be on Raw.
Oh, it'll be a small nothing segment.
I hope so.
Yeah. So when is SummerSlam? Is it 2 weeks from now? Or 2 weeks from Monday?
I believe so.
Okay, cool. So we've got 2 more weeks. I think we're going to see another 2 fire weeks for these 2 shows. I think the question is going to be after SummerSlam as they get into football season. Can they keep it up? As for now, it's been a very solid week of wrestling so far. The Cruiserweight Classic is going to deliver. So, I think that's kind of where we stand here, man. Thank you for listening to the show. If you'd like to follow Smark City on Twitter, you can find us at The Smark City. On Facebook, we are facebook.com// The Smark City. I always say backslash. I'm weird. Check either one of those places. You'll see what we're writing about and talking about. And you can check us out on our website, www.thesmarkcity.com. We'd love to have you there to talk wrestling. We'll definitely be around to comment and talk. It's your Smark City. It's whatever you want to talk about whenever you want to talk about it. So, let us know. Drew, got anything else to say, man?
Nope. I'm good. I'm done with my wrestling this week. Oh, except for tomorrow for the CWC.
Yeah.
And I only hope for positivity and the power of positivity.
That's all I hope for. New kind of Smarks where we're not shitting on shit just to shit. Is that our new slogan? Is that the new slogan?
You're gonna have to replace "Welcome to Smark City" and put that up there.
Not shitting on shit, just the shit. Yep. Anyway, thanks for hanging with us. WWE, keep it up, man. This has been fun. Y'all take care. All right. Later.
Take care.